The way that I present myself in my own personal space is how I go out into the world and how I reflect that energy.
Is it how you move, how you smile, how you captivate everything, how the body move, pretty eyes, got it all, you killing the scene. I want you to be.
Greetings, my amazing A-listers, and welcome to another beautiful day with A. I am so grateful to be here, and I trust that you all are well. If you're not, I'm sending you all the good vibes. For those of you who are new, my name is A, and I'm your favorite mindset and meditation mentor. Here at Experience A-List, I help women reclaim their self-worth by putting themselves first by creating self-fulfilling routines through meditation and accountability sessions. A-List is a list of alchemizing women of the highest order of divinity, excellence, and admirable eminence. To make it happen, we don't make excuses. So today's video is going to be about 3 simple ways to add value to your life and elevate your life as a woman. And this came up a little earlier, right before I recorded this, because I was thinking about okay, what do I want to talk about today? I'm getting back on track with my schedule as far as posting twice a week instead of once a week, and I'm just really excited about life. My life has definitely been improving tremendously with these exact habits that I'm going to tell you. Now, these habits that I'm telling you, I've been doing this for years now, but I have definitely tightened up on these habits, especially with the first one that I'm going to give you. So let's dive right into it. So our first point is going to be getting closer to God, or your divine source, or whatever you believe in. But for me, I'm going to say God because that is what I believe in. That is who I believe in. And I grew up Christian. I grew up going to church and everything. And I've always had a relationship with God, but I was very fearful and very uncertain about that, especially because I feel like I was not confident enough in what I was believing in, as far as I feel like I just had a lot of fear of messing up and sinning and doing all these things. So I always felt like, well, maybe I'm going to go to hell because I didn't do this, or I lied, or you know what I mean? Stuff like that. I used to always have this fear of just going to hell. And I had a fear of really getting to know God on a deeper level because I was just listening to what the people at church said, what my mom said, or just people in general who were just trying to tell me about God. And I felt like I did not really have a secure relationship with God in that sense, and thinking about, okay, who is God to me? What is God to me? And why do I believe this way about God? And how am I working in alignment with God? And it wasn't until the recent, probably 7 years, where I have been developing a relationship with God. And now more than ever, especially since last year, not even last year, since 2022, when I had another traumatic experience happen with a friend, I really had to lock in and discipline myself and build my relationship with God and really isolate myself and fast, and to strip myself of my toxic pleasures, the guilty pleasures, really having to sit down and say, okay, this is not of God and I need to change it, regardless of how badly I want things. And that's another thing. I'm very mindful of the way that I speak, and a lot of times we'll say things that contradict our way of being. So instead of saying, oh, I want this so bad, why bad? Why not good? Why not great? Why not amazing? And so when I started to change that inner dialogue and then really honing in into myself and just being in that isolation and being in that state of discipline, I feel like, and I know that I had improved my relationship with God, which then started to reflect in my aura and my relationships around me. I stopped talking to people who were not conducive for my long-term goals and my plan and where I was in life, and really taking heed to what God was saying. There's a saying God will drop pebbles on your head before he drops a brick. And I feel like in 2022, he definitely was dropping those pebbles. And I was just no, I was getting intoxicated. I was just doing all types of stuff, just things that were not godly. And he really came in and dropped a brick on my head. And it really put me at one of the lowest points that I had ever been in. And at that point, I realized what it meant to surrender, what it meant to live in a godly way, to be righteous. And then I started to get back into my Bible and my studies. And I am am more spiritual than I am religious. I don't go to church every week, every month, or I don't do Bible studies and nothing like that. But I know that God knows my heart. He understands where I come from. He sees me. The practices that I do for myself is what has elevated me to where I am now. I'm confident in myself. I don't live in a state of fear. I'm able to speak and to connect with people on a more authentic and a genuine level. And that's because of me building my relationship with God, me setting the tone for how I want my life to be, and whoever comes into my life, either they're in alignment or they're not. And it's just as simple as that. This leads me into our next point, which is creating an AM and a PM routine, a daily one. Starting small, because I started doing my AM and PM routine back in 2020, and I had explained this in a video before, but I noticed that when I have something set in the AM and the PM, it keeps me a bit more grounded in my day, and it doesn't give me scattered brain or making me feel like I'm all over the place. And what I mean about AM and a PM routine, so for me, what I like to do and what I do every single day, and I pass these practices on to my little one, is immediately when I wake up, I am giving thanks and gratitude to God. I am setting my intentions and praying. I pray about 5 times or more a day. Like, I cannot not pray. And I know back then I used to always forget to pray and I used to feel bad, but that goes in with building your relationship with God, and then also creating a daily routine and a habit that then can connect those two key points together. And it does improve your life, because the more attitude of gratitude that you have and that you put out, the more abundance, the more good energy, the better the alignment and the connections that you begin to cultivate within yourself and outside of yourself. And I'm a very detailed person. I'm a very particular person. And I love to do things a certain way. I'm very practical. I'm very pragmatic. I'm very routine based. And as I've been developing myself with my self-awareness, with my spiritual journey and getting closer to God, I realized, like, okay, this works for me. If I don't do this, I don't feel good. If I don't do this, the rest of the day is going to go like that. And typically that's how it's been. So I would say 99% of the time I am doing my AM, my PM routine. But that 1%, when I don't do it, I definitely feel it. Like, I feel it to my core. Like, I wake up with a weird energy. Like, sometimes I can't even go to, like, if I go to sleep and I don't do my PM routine, I'm not going to be able to sleep through the night. Like, I would have to wake up at like 3 or 4 in the morning, and I'm not able to go back to sleep until I do it. And so I have definitely conditioned myself. I've seen the quality of my life improve. Like, the people that I used to know and used to be with, like, I'm not with the people anymore. Like, the places that I used to go and the things that I used to indulge in, I don't do that anymore. And it has definitely allowed me to set boundaries with myself and other people. And the way that I present myself in my own personal space is how I go out into the world and how I reflect that energy. My home is so sacred to me now more than ever. Like, I used to be a person where I used to just let any and everyone who I felt like I could trust or be vulnerable with into my space. And now it's like, no, like, I don't let nobody come into my personal energy, into my home or nothing, because it's my sanctuary. It's a place where I have cultivated something that is solely for me. And I noticed that the people who I did back then allow into my space, they came, they destroyed it, they wrecked it. My mental health suffered for it. My physical health had suffered for it. And I just learned to just say no, which leads me into my last point, which is stop accepting the bare minimum behavior. And that goes for platonic relationships, intimate relationships, business relationships, and family relationships. And this is something that I really had to just recently, I would say in the past 1 to 2 years, that I had to really like crack down on with, because I was just always so forgiving and so understanding and so compassionate and just people pleasing. And I realized, like, I used to always get the short end of the stick. And something that I like to say and I live by, you are a reflection of what you accept. So if you continue to accept the bare minimum energy, you're literally saying that this person deserves more energy and more of a quality from me than I do for myself. So say if you're in a relationship, you want your partner to pamper you and give you all these things, but you don't even do it to yourself. And you're constantly doing it to them and you're expecting them to give it to you. They don't see that reflected on you, so they're not going to give it to you. That's kind of a surface level example, but it speaks volume. It's the principle of what I'm trying to say, because the way that you treat yourself, you're showing and telling people of how to treat you. If you continuously accept the bare minimum, that's what you're going to continuously reflect. And the relationships around you are going to continue to perpetuate that same bare minimum cycle. Let me tell you something. Stop accepting the bare minimum behavior, because there are people out there who are willing to give you the most and more. And not saying that from being like in a sense of greed, but when you pour into yourself, when you really take the time to discipline yourself, when you set standards and boundaries for yourself, trust me, people, they will see that, they feel that, and it shows. And they're not going to come at you with anything less. And if they do, it's going to be so obvious for you to like see that. And you have to make the decision at that point if you're going to accept that or you're going to reject that. And with that being said, that is all I have for this video today. I really pray and hope that you ladies get this message. Keep building your relationship with God, or build a relationship with God. Start small, like just having gratitude and just praying, even if it's like for 1 minute or two. Just really get into the habit of that. Create an AM and a PM routine, whether that be you waking up 10 minutes earlier just to take more time for yourself, get into fitness, like really pouring into yourself, speaking to yourself greatly, the non-negotiables of your life. And then also stop accepting bare minimum behavior and give yourself the most, because you are the best, you deserve it, you are worthy of it. And that's how we are at A-List. Like, come on. We're alchemizing women of the highest order of divinity, excellence, and admirable eminence. We make it happen. We don't make excuses. So make sure that you subscribe and follow me on all platforms at Experience A-List, and I'll catch you in my next one. Ciao.